How's it going, everyone? I'm Dono, and this is How to Happy. In this video, we're going to be doing a book review of the book Pre-Suasion by Robert Cialdini. This book is best for those who read Influence and want to get another deeper perspective, and those who are interested in psychology, marketing, influence, those kinds of things. The difficulty to digest of Pre-Suasion is a little bit harder than Influence because the concepts are a little bit more complex. However, Cialdini keeps his same simple, straightforward style, builds in a lot of research, so it might take a little bit more work to understand what he's saying, but it's still written really well and approachably. All right, moving on to the key insights. So if you have read Influence, that book is all about factors that determine influence when making a decision. This book, Pre-Suasion, is all about the surrounding context and the moments leading up to an attempt to persuade someone and what's important. As with his last book, Pre-Suasion has a lot of research examples as well as examples from real life, and is just written in a way that's really approachable and hits a lot of different angles, so that regardless of the way that your brain processes information, you should find a way to kind of figure these things out. So the book starts by talking about how setting the right frame can make a really big difference. So for example, if you ask someone beforehand if they're an angry person, they're immediately going to start thinking of times that they were angry, and then whenever you follow up with, that's going to be influenced by them thinking about all those angry circumstances. So setting the frame can make all the difference in terms of how receptive they are to certain ideas. Cialdini then spends a big chunk of the book talking about the importance of attention, and essentially what he says is that whatever we pay attention to becomes more important, and the longer we keep our attention there, the more important we think that it is. This is because our brain does this little trick where it assumes that we wouldn't be paying attention to something unless it was important. So as part of persuasion, if you can get someone to focus on a certain aspect or a certain thing for a longer period of time, it's more likely that they're going to feel like it's an important thing to be focusing on. The next section talks about the power of association. So there was an experiment that they ran where when people were holding a warm cup of coffee, they were more likely to elicit warm feelings. Basically, whenever a concept comes out, your brain associates it with other things. So since warm can be, warm in your hand or warm affectionately, those two things are linked in your brain and more likely to come out. This is the reason that advertisers run ads with celebrities. We all know intuitively that that's exactly what they're trying to do, is attach a celebrity to a product. But it works even though we're aware of it. Cialdini then talks about the power of the environment. So he says that depending on where you are can make a big difference in how you make choices. For example, when he was writing the book, when he was in his office at the university, he was writing in a much more formal way, but when he moved somewhere where he could see, normal average people walking around, his writing style became a lot more conversational. So his argument is that depending on where you are, the types of choices you make can change quite a bit. Cialdini then goes on to add another influence factor called unity. And the basic idea of unity is that we tend to do things for those we think of as in the same group. Now, this isn't necessarily the same as liking, but think of it as, your family. There are probably people in your family who bother you or that you don't particularly like, yet you would still go out of your way to do things for them because of this unity. Now, this unity factor can also apply in a broader sense. So if you think of sports teams, if someone's a fan of this team and you're a fan of that team, that builds a sense of unity and gives them more influence. Now, on to other considerations. As with the first book, Cialdini spends a good amount of time talking about how to ward off unwanted persuasion attempts. Again, this is a lot of stuff to try to process consciously all the time, but it does make sense to be aware of it and see how these things influence your decisions so that you can make the decisions that are best for you. In addition, this book is absolutely packed with notes and other things in the back of the book, so if you want to dig into the research, feel free to go back there and go wild because there's tons and tons of stuff to go through. Moving on to the applicable content and exercises. What are some mental frames or environmental cues you could use to help yourself make better decisions? What cause are you dedicated to? How can you use the influence technique of unity to bring more people to take action? Again, this is another book that I found really valuable. It has a lot of information just about how we process information and make decisions. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I definitely recommend picking it up. As always, there will be a link down below where you can get it. That's all I've got for this video. As always, if you have any questions, comments, topics you want me to cover, put them down in the box below, and I will see you next time. You can check out more content at howtohappy.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on the videos. We've also got a Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook that you can check out. Reflect, take action, and enjoy life. See you next time.